Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Chef's Meal, where we talk about whatever and never and everything else in between. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another podcast here at Chef's Salty Pork. Today, special episode, just straight up podcast. We are with Jerome Shuler. What's up, my homie?
What's going on, brother? How are you?
I'm doing good, man. How you been?
Just chilling, man. Trying to hustling and surviving. Hustling and surviving.
So just some background for everybody, because I don't think they've ever heard your name on my podcast ever at one point. Jerome is a former co-worker of ours at our restaurant, and he's certified homie. Hometastic, is that a new word I should make up or whatever?
You should coin that, trademark it, copyright it.
He's
Put it
also
on a t-shirt.
he's also a co-musician, an amazing guy altogether. I talk to a lot of talented people, and this guy is no less than amazingly talented himself. But we're just gonna chat and drop some knowledge on everybody, and just have a good time. No. But first, though, Jerome, can you tell us a little something about yourself, if you don't mind, just so everybody that's listening understands who you are, what you do, where you come from, if you want. If you don't want to, that's okay.
Yeah, so my name's Jerome, like Casey was saying. I'm originally from Jersey City, New Jersey, born and raised on the waterfront, right in Newport between Hoboken and Exchange Place. It looks very gentrified now. But I've recently, after working with Casey at the restaurant, I moved to Atlanta in 2017, where I've been just taking my music and my love for film and directing to the next level out here, and yeah, just trying to do my art, spread love.
Damn, directing now too. What's going on, Jerome? What is this? I didn't hear about this.
Well, that's what a lot of people don't realize, because a lot of people like you met me doing the music. I went to school for
Yeah.
theater, and when I got out of college, I had an agent and everything for theater, but I've always had a love for film, so I was still doing theater, and I actually got accepted to film school, but decided to do theater. So was doing,
Wow.
yeah, a lot of my music videos. I directed them, came up with the concepts, did the scouting, did the casting. So with that, I started learning how to film doing my music videos. I was taking what I was learning in school and applying it to my music. So out here, I just LLC my production company before the pandemic hit, and I actually have a project that's ready to go. It's dropping soon. I'm not going to say too much about it, but I'm really excited about it. It's the first project that's to be released from my own production company, written, produced by me, directed by me. Yeah, so I'm excited, man. Just been working, grinding.
Some horn and applause right there, my homie, because that is pretty damn amazing. Wow, I did not know.
Yeah.
Did not know.
Thanks, man. Yeah, man. I'm trying to. I like you. Like, you're a very talented dude, and like even seeing you perform live, and from your voice to your music, you just being a musician, the way you play the guitar and all that stuff. Like, you're just a very humble dude, though. Like, you wouldn't know that you get down like that, because you're just humble, and I feel like that's where we have something in common. Like, I'm just humble. Like, I don't. You're giving me a chance to talk about it, which I don't really talk too much about it if you're not in the circle of me putting this together. And I think just by nature we're humble guys, so I've been trying to figure out how to express all these things through the art, so that when you see it, you're like, oh, now I get that you do all this stuff, and
Yeah.
a lot of that comes with we're getting older, man, and just maturing and learning
Yo,
as you go.
mad old, my homie. We are. We. I was talking to Sean because okay, Sean is a little older. He's about 3 years older than we are, but like I was like, hey, I had to wear ankle straps and some knee like straps the other day playing basketball
No.
because like my bones can't handle it no more. That's just the way it is. And I was like, Sean, I'm only 34. He's like, bro, wait till you get 38. I was like,
Oh my
I did not mean to say that you're older, Sean. I'm so sorry.
god.
He's like, no, no.
Holy shit. It's so funny. I just had my birthday last month. 32,
Oh, I,
but my stage age is 29.
yeah. Oh, there
but
you go. See,
but
but stage age is 22. No matter what, I was gonna close.
nah, though it's different. It's different. I'm married now too, so it's like uh
Mhm.
it that balance of work and making time for home, all that stuff is like I wouldn't be able to approach this the way I'm approaching it now without that the knowledge and the failures of my 20s. Like
Yeah,
I was just telling my wife
absolutely.
the other day, I was like, we got to stop looking at it as, oh, we're getting older. This is a new decade to fuck shit up, and I don't mean it in a way we fuck shit up in the 20s. I mean fuck shit up in a positive way.
Yeah.
Like I'm starting to look at it as a new decade to do shit because now I'm starting to realize as I get older, the shit that I thought was big deal, like a big deal in my mid 20s and stuff. I'm getting older, so I'm like, you know what?
Mm,
That's just like high school to me now. It's in my rear view.
yeah.
It doesn't matter as much, and I'm like, what's going to happen in my 30s now? My circle of friends change. My location has changed. It's like that 4 year cycle of how we do high school when we do college. Like every 4 years, you start to evolve a little bit. And I think it's exciting. I used to look at it before, like, oh my gosh, I'm getting old. I can't do certain shit. And I'm like, I think people like Jay Z prove that we can do whatever we want for as long as we want, as long as the art is still there and we're true to the art and we're true to ourselves.
Yeah. See, this is why I connected with you in that level because we're in the same pretty much person. Like that's why I felt such a like a brotherly connection with you because same mindset, same person. You're literally the same person.
yeah, yeah.
It's
I
so good to have somebody else the same that way.
Yeah, but I just like your grind is like that, and I feel the same way because you would be like, oh, you're filming the music videos, you're setting up the concerts and stuff, and I'm like, you're doing that all by yourself. I don't think people realize how hard it is to be a music artist by yourself, being independent, like literally independent, and it's a lot of work, especially when you are working another. You're a chef too, so you're working your career job while trying to do this too. And now you're doing a podcast. I'm like, I applaud people that can really juggle that because it's hard, man. It's hard work, and people don't notice it sometimes because fuckers like you make it look easy.
Well, you know what it is? It's the time management skill. That's literally all it is.
So
Everything else is, it's like a hobby. I'm not trying to toot my own horn, but I'm just saying I'm really good with time management. That's literally all it is.
it really that's what it really comes down to, those time management. And if you
Mhm.
can't manage your time appropriately, and you learn a lot about time management and who's good at it when in a restaurant setting. I think
Yeah.
anyone who who wants to go out and do things should work in a restaurant for one portion of your life because it's a whole different atmosphere, and you learn a lot of skills that you can apply to any kind of business really. And maybe you can do that
Yeah.
with a lot of different professions, but just the road that we've taken, I can really see that in a restaurant setting and how you can match that up to the music business and just business period.
hmm Well, let's talk about music real quick. So before, when we were working together, you were a full blown musician here as well in Jersey side. How are you faring over there on the ATL side?
So moving to Atlanta, like I said about trying to evolve and upgrade, like when I moved to Atlanta, I decided everything was a clean slate. So I said, when I present myself in Atlanta, a place like Atlanta, I have to come correct. So for the past 3 years, I've been working on music. I've probably recorded about 6 albums worth of music, probably
Wow.
more. Like that. That's just me counting the songs that made it into some kind of form of an album, not the throwaways.
Mhm.
I said that's still not good. I start dissecting, making sure that shit is right because I'm fucking with a new sound too because I always experiment with new sounds. So it's like, and what's
Yeah, of
popular
course.
now is different. It's just a different climate. But I feel like technology has caught up with a lot of the things I was trying to do that I just wasn't allowed to before. So I'm kind of like more
Yeah.
comfortable now, and I haven't been in this new age of social media. Um, so I'm a little bit more comfortable with that, and getting into this new project, it's like I made sure I found the exact person I wanted to mix and master this. I record everything at my home studio. So, I wanted to find someone that could take what I did and then bring it up a notch. And Maddie in LA, he mixed and mastered it. I seeked out someone for the cover art. I was getting down to the details with this cover
Wow.
art. This woman's done work for Disney and Marvel. She did it from scratch from an idea I had. That's done. Went and seeked
Mhm.
out the best black owned uh, cinematographer and sound people to work on this from open season out here. They killed
Mhm.
and smashed. Got some talent from down here. Paige Fralick, she's dancing in this. She just did the Super Bowl halftime with Shakira. She even had a
Mhm.
commercial with Missy premiere that night too. She's dope. She's in a great actress. She's up and coming. She's in like she's about to have a great year. Amanda Dunn is starring in this. I got the short film.
Mhm.
It's really cool. It's really cool. It's a whole world I'm gonna immerse people in, and I'm really excited to share it because I haven't done anything for 3 years. That's how crazy Atlanta is. The energy,
Yeah.
the creative energy, the art that's down here. It makes you want and have to be the best version of yourself before you even step out the door. And I love that challenge. I love that.
I think that's the most important. Being like, so just to give you some ideas, right here in Jersey, specifically where we are, yo, we are dead musically. There's not really any live venues, nor people seek out to go to those live venues to begin with, as a like an artist. However, there's some touring bands that do stop by into town. However, but they're seeing those bands, not specifically live bands where you are, ATL over there. But when my wife and I took a road trip last year for our anniversary, like that was our anniversary gift. When we were in Texas, Austin, Texas, it was buzzing with music. It was so insane just to compare, like 800 miles from like Jersey, like just compare for music's sakes. Like people will talk about the live local setting more than they would, mainstream bands. They don't really care about that. That's cool. You'll hear it on the radio. But who is hot right now in the local scene? That's who they want to see. And I don't see that here in Jersey, at least here where we used to live, or where I live currently. And it's a little unfortunate.
That I had to leave home to really be able to see home, and it's interesting because I get really excited with the thought of being like, if I can break down some kind of barrier or some door for Jersey. It's like I'm in Atlanta doing this, and this is Atlanta's definitely a second home when it comes to the energy and the creative arts. But Jersey City and Jersey period is always going to be home. So it's like wherever I win, we all win
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
because a door open for me just means that's a door open for you. A door open for you means that's a door open for someone that you know. For she's and we start to create that music scene that we need. How do we not have a music scene in
I
Jersey?
know it's so cool.
It's like blasphemy. It doesn't make any sense.
And then you go to New York where everything is bussing, but that's New York. That's across the river, and that's an expense that most people will not like. I used to I think my second year into the band, we used to go to New York all the time, and bro, we would lose money every single damn trip because one, there's four of us. Two, the tolls just to get into the city is like $15. Then there's parking. Then we have to haul all our fucking gear, and then we sell like what, two t-shirts, three t-shirts. People are like, yeah, whatever, but
Bruh.
that's it. So it's kind of a waste.
The 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 one show I had in New York City at Santos Party House. Before that, I did a bunch of shows in New York City, and people still can. I still could get some people to come out, which was nuts.
Uh-huh.
Now that I think back on it, and when I say people, it might have been like 15 or 20
Yeah.
people. When you're starting out, that people don't understand how crazy that number
Yeah,
is to you and how important that number is to you. And I think when I did Santos Party House, I think I got about between 30 to 40 people to
damn.
come out. And yeah, it was very surprising. I have that on tape.
Man.
Uh, that was it was crazy. And now when I think about it now, I'm like, damn, because like you said, that traveling people did not want to do that, pay those tolls, and those people came out, and I'm forever grateful for those people because
Forever
That
grateful.
is just nuts. But that used to show me though when you start to set those goals though, because it's very discouraging. Like you said, you might sell two T-shirts, you lose money on a fucking performance, but you know what?
Yeah.
You do it again.
Yeah, exactly. Got to keep doing it, and we've been keeping at it, but like ever so slightly, we'll take better opportunities than most, but it needs to be played out a little better because one, all the guys have kids. I don't have a kid yet, so I understand their schedules, and then two, I understand not everybody has the same amount of money as everybody else, so maybe sometimes we just have to compensate for each other. So that's the main thing um, that I've learned with the band with the guys now. But hey, it is what it is. But we keep on trucking. But I'm really excited for everything else that's going on. But right now we're kind of shut down. And I wanted to update on you this. I stopped by the mall the other day, our mall, and this is past after COVID or during COVID, still during COVID, right? All of the restaurants are closed except for like the big chain ones. So like Chick-fil-A, Taco Bell downstairs, CPK is open, and then everybody else is kind of closed.
Wow.
Yeah, everything is it's just not open. All the little mini boutique stores though, for like clothing or um, like accessories and stuff, they're open. But just the restaurants are taking such a huge hit on this COVID thing. So the one stall that was open yesterday that I went to was I think it was like the boba tea maker. I was like, yo, listen, let me get two of those, and then I tipped them an extra 20. I was like, hey, I know exactly what you're under, so this is at least I can help out at least for that day for that person. Um, but yeah, it's a little rough. How's the businesses down there faring with COVID?
Bro, I gotta tell you, we've been open. Do you know what I'm saying? In Georgia.
Been open?
Yeah, I mean, not just like y'all are doing out there with just outdoor dining. We're doing indoor dining. The
You're doing indoor?
Yes, the restaurant that I work at now. I know a lot of restaurants are back open. I know a lot of restaurants have closed, but
Mm.
I can only speak from the restaurant that I work at, and the restaurant I work at is an anomaly, bro. Like I'm not even. I've been embarrassed to tell people about how well that restaurant's been doing while this has been happening. I worked through the whole pandemic because we switched over
You've
to
been working the entire
yeah,
time.
we switched
Wow.
over to curbside and delivery. And my owner, he's just a smart dude. Like that's what I was talking about. Watching how people conduct themselves with like restaurant business is such a it's
Mm.
always changing. Watching him has helped me and how I approach my business because we changed over to curbside and delivery. He delegated that to the management there, which is one person,
Mm.
and he came up with this system, and we killed it. They do a retail wine program, so they're killing it with that. We stumbled, but then we got a hang of the curbside and shit. Killed on Mother's Day, like it it was nuts. Then not only that, but a guest started a GoFundMe for us, and they raised like 35 grand.
Oh my God, that is smart.
Now we're now we're open. We're open and we're doing indoor dining, so social distancing and everything, and we're all pulling out, and we're still making money. Like we definitely can't complain that we're blessed because the situation that we're in is unlike any other that I've heard, and it's just nuts. It's just nuts. But there's been a lot of support here. That's one thing about the South is that even though I have my issues with the South because their culture is born on Jim Crow laws and Confederacy, whether they like to admit it or not. So the culture already just has this effect on people. But there are a lot of people who are very loving and caring, and there's a sense of community in a lot of these places. And once they accept you into their community, they ride for you. Then that's a Southern value that I can get behind.
I dig that too. Yeah, I did notice when we were traveling down south, a lot more sir, ma'am, yes, please. Unlike here,
Yeah,
Jersey, New York, like the fuck you doing? Fuck out of my way.
yeah,
Walking what the fuck, bro. There's a lot of that
yep.
happening here in the East Coast, but yeah, man, like I said, it's quite a fiasco here. We're not even open for indoor dining just yet because the governor was like, "You guys realize I pay attention to social media, right?" So he shut it down again. He's like, "Nah, we delaying that shit." So it's you guys' fault. So hopefully, maybe you'll never know. People still will not wear masks, and I don't know. It's so annoying.
Yeah.
Just do everybody a
I,
favor. Just wear a mask.
I know people are upset up there that they're not open, but look at what's happening down here. I
Yeah.
say that we worked and we're, I say that we worked and we're blessed, Casey, but bro, the anxiety that we all have
Oh,
from
I know.
even when we weren't open and we're just on curbside, the anxiety that we had that we can possibly get sick and bring it home or go grocery shopping and bring it back to our coworkers. I keep telling people now when we work and we get stressed out, I'm like, acknowledge the fact that you did not have a break through this pandemic. It's working on your mental in a way that we don't understand right now because we're talking about masks and we're
Yeah.
not talking about mental health for when this is over. Stop talking about how people can. I mean, and people are having mental issues being home right now too, especially
Mhm.
people suffering from depression. And I'm not saying that's not important. What I'm saying is we need to talk about the long term effects too. We're talking about immediate effects for political reasons.
Yeah.
We just need to be talking about health and well being, period. Not for any political stuff, just period, for the
Yeah.
interests of mankind. But our leaders are a certain way, so we're bickering over whether we want to wear a mask or not right
I know. It's just
now.
it's such a silly argument. Why just maybe be a little uncomfortable out of your day, the 20 minutes or 30 minutes that you're out, maybe, right? To give everybody a chance, the entire world. This is not a you thing. This is an us thing to be able to recuperate and make sure we're all better before we go ahead and pull the trigger and be like we're okay with masks. But like just comparing numbers, dude. So our loud and proud president made a tweet the other day, and I think it was hilarious. He was like, "Oh, we test over like what 40 million, whatever, or 40,000 people here in the U.S." And then somebody uh, tweeted him back from Denmark. He was like, people in the U.S. test one every 8.5 people. In Denmark, one every 5 people. And then cases today, he was like Denmark 12, U.S. 60,000.
That's my only thing that gets me upset about this new culture that we found ourselves in with alternative facts. Facts don't lie. We need to do is shut down. We've already done it. We've done it longer than we wanted to because we were afraid to shut down in the first place. We need 4 weeks of everything being shut down. That's it. The economy is going to do what we dictate the economy to do. I don't understand why that's so hard to wrap minds around. Like, dude, so no one have to. We don't have to even bicker about masks. Just shut everything down.
Yeah.
Make sure everyone gets a stipend for those 4 weeks. That rent is free. That mortgages are free. No one will mess with your light bills, and we all are on a holiday for 4 weeks. When we're on lockdown, you can leave your house. I forget. I live down here now though, and I know
Yeah.
how hard that is to leave your house up north when you live in apartment and condo buildings. But we have to figure out something so people won't go stir crazy. But it's like, yo, we figured we are human beings. We adapt to we have the ability to adapt. If anything, we know how to adapt to situations. We will adapt, but because we've seen everything, we can make precautions and make sure that people who suffer from depression or domestic abuse going up, that we monitor these things better. If we want to use the police, we can use the police to police that or something.
Yeah.
Like it's just that we can come up with something, but we're not having conversations like this because we're talking about wearing masks. Wearing
No,
masks?
it's so stupid. They
Like what
focus
are
on one thing that's so not necessarily needed to be talked about. It should be a prerequisite. Everything else should be talked about besides that one that we are focusing on. But I I don't know. If this were in my kitchen, be like, you're fired. Hey, it's not though. Oh,
oh man.
hold on
Nuts.
one second. So a lot of moving parts, like I mentioned, here in Jersey or here in the East Coast. Nothing too crazy. I don't really have any too big of updates for you. None. Oh, In terms of music, though, no bars are open, so we can't really necessarily play. But
Damn.
the homies and I do rehearse via, I don't want to say Skype, but we record our part on a track that we all played in, and then I'll mix and put it all together in video format. So that's kind of a way that we can kind of still play in this during COVID necessity. How are you? How are you still? Or are you not like? I want to know what you're doing social media wise ish for your music, if you are doing it, and if you are not, what are your kind of pre-planned ways to go about it in the upcoming weeks? Because you said you had 6 albums coming out, or not really 6 albums, but however.
No. From those 6 albums, I'm only releasing an album and an EP. Like that's ready to
Uh,
go. Yeah, that's ready to go.
yeah.
But I honestly was not supposed to be on social media until the rollout of this, but because of the social climate and uh the responsibility I feel I have just to be able to have certain conversations with the diverse people that I know, I've got
Mhm.
back on social media. Um, but yeah, no, like there's a whole rollout coming. I I won't
Cool.
say much, but I will say it's
Don't say much. Don't say much.
my whole idea of being an independent artist and having a production company is like I'm moving the way a major label would move back in the day as an independent. And I feel
Oh,
like that would work a lot more now just because of how everyone's got I never was into following the pack. Like I'm just not that person. I just can't do it. So my whole thing
yeah.
is how can I be innovative and take us to the next level? How if I feel like we're off track, how do I feel like I would want to put us back on track? What does music and art
Ah,
really mean to me? And what do I want to bring to music? And what do I want artists that think like me to be able to bring to music? How does that door opening up look like? So that's how
yeah,
I'm
yeah, yeah.
approaching this. And because I feel like there's a bunch of artists just like me that want to tell their art and tell their story in a way that I want to, just like me, that might not like the way we have conformed to doing that now. And I think there's something cool with being able to mix old school with new school because I always say the great thing about our generation that people don't talk about is that we are that gap. We've seen what technology is without social media and we've seen what technology is with it.
With
And
social
it's
media.
a yeah, and it's a very unique point of view that we have on that. Remember, we're also the generation that's seen 9/11 happen. You know,
Yeah.
and see how the social climate changed. Then we've seen a lot that I think a lot of people don't realize about our generation living through a recession and all that stuff. I don't think people realize. So I think our 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 perspective is very unique. And even with music, we've seen the evolution of music from Napster to uh what was it before Spotify? It was like I can't even think of it.
We
Pandora,
only
I think.
had Apple Music before. Yeah, Pandora,
Yeah,
Apple Music
we
before, and
we've
then
se-
Spotify a little later.
we've watched it all evolve to even
Yeah.
podcasts from like so it's like I think we have a certain perspective and we have a certain integrity when it comes to music because we know what it's like to play the rat race or have to just be in the race and
Mhm.
what you have to do to get ahead music wise where with having to do the shows, having to be out and doing your own street team work without social media. There's people
Yeah,
that don't know that. So I feel like bridging that whole gap together, I feel like makes for something really special. And I hope that's what I'm doing because I feel like that opens a door up for artists like us.
I hope so too. I'm just a struggling Asian kid trying to use some rock songs on the side, but it is. For a short bit, I really wanted to make, not for a short bit, but a good like couple months. It's not that I was frustrated, but I wanted samples in front of my face, meaning like I wanted not like a mixing board, but I wanted something that I could recreate what I loved about the '90s, which was when I first came over here. I don't know if I ever told you, I came over here December 15th, '97. So that was like the boom era of rap music. I was all into rap. I loved the fucking 90s. So much so that I dug all the way back to like the 80s and just how it evolved from that sound. I was all in it. I was all for it. And growing up, even through high school, before I'm assuming my voice kind of cracked or whatever after college. I wanted to be Usher. That was me. I was like, that's how I sang. That's all the runs and shit. I was all for it. And
You
like the
got the
second in
swag
college,
too. You had the swag to pull it off.
and then like after college, for some reason, my voice not necessarily cracked, but it sounded like I smoked for 5 years and then it just got raspy. So I have no idea what happened. And then singer songwriter came out, and I was just like, fuck, now I like this better. So it's just a whole bunch of that. Do you happen to see yourself maybe a little bit later on? Because I know you do both. I know you sing too. What do you prefer nowadays? Do you prefer doing the singing more style or just the straight up rapping style?
So for a while, and like I said, when you see the rollout, you'll start to understand a little bit of what I'm saying. Because right now, some of it's going to sound cryptic, but I look
Hey,
at I look at my time in Jersey as school. I look at all that as school.
oh,
So when I first started, I was focusing on singing because I also was trying to make my singing voice stronger. Towards the
yeah,
back half of my time in Jersey, I was focusing on rap. A lot of the guys that I had around me was rapping too, so I felt like I was surrounding myself around um, rappers that I thought were great that can also help me become a better rapper. And a lot of that was homework. So I think when you met me, I think I was in school for rap. When I came here, I almost had to not unlearn. I guess you could say I was coming to the end of my my schooling in rap. It was like my last year because of course you come to Atlanta to find out how to use those bass lines, how to really croon and
yeah,
use auto tune if you're talking about rap in Atlanta. So I felt like that was my
yeah.
last leg of that. But after that, the school that I was in here was putting all that together. So I had to
Oh,
start from basics first. So the first project I dropped is primarily um, singing. I think there's one rap verse on there. The EP which came up, I just finished that EP last month. I started last month and finished it last month because all the social stuff that was happening, I forgot that that's where my rap voice really lives. So it became naturally for me to rap and tell my story of what I've been doing lately in this climate, unfortunately. But that's when I really found my rap voice. So that
mm,
that that EP to me is a perfect hybrid of what my music would sound like, including rap and singing going forward. But there's a whole mythology in this universe that you'll understand it because I'm not. This is Jay Shuler presents Molly and the Pineapples. Like that's the first time I'm. Yeah, that I mean, I've a lot of my social media says Molly and the Pineapples, but that's the new moniker that I'm going under, and it consists of three members. But
gotcha.
it's
It's
yeah,
like Justin Timberlake and the Tennessee Boys, kind of.
kind of something like that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. All right, okay. Because that's how I picture you as, pretty much. The front man with like surrounding people, or we could even do the whole Bruno Mars thing, right, where you have like a full band dancing with you. Because I think that's like how the vibe I always see you in when you perform, anyway. So I mean, at least that's what I want to. I want like a 12-piece band behind me, so we just dance and sing like idiots. I think that would be
But
the funnest, but my band
that's
won't let
what
me.
that's what I've always wanted. That's what I've always dreamed of, and it's like I feel I'm getting close to that point. Um, and I hope that happens soon. But I'm excited about the new music. I'm really excited about it. I think this is the most
Ah,
authentic musician from a musician point of view, and from just an artist point of view, a personal point of view. I think this is the most authentic version of myself, and it's all me. I have no outside influence on anything. It's just really all me. And it's funny
yeah.
that you mentioned '90s samples though. When you're talking about that, there's some samples I don't know if people are gonna catch, but when this one song comes out, I'm gonna purposely ask you. I'm gonna send it to you, and I'm gonna spam you to see if you can figure out what the sample is because people don't know what the sample is, and I'm like, I can't.
I freaking love the 90s samples. I really do. So much so that like all the sounds that I use for our panel, the panel's like the little dings and those little things and the
Yeah,
squeaks that you're hearing. I have only 90s music that I cut and spliced in there for our intros for Sean and myself. Because, you know, Sean is also the same thing. He grew up in that same era. Um, so for us, that sets a childhood for us. Be like, that's what we grew up with in, you know, 12, 13, 14, all the way to, you know, 17, 18. That resounded so much with us. So all I have in 90s music on on the stream. But yeah, man, I'm looking forward to it. It'll be cool. And I have like 6 other songs that I haven't had Sean listen to just yet, and I think he will be surprised with some of the samples. But just going back to the samples real quick though, like I
Whoa,
mentioned,
wait,
I
wait,
wanted
wait.
to make.
I just want to ask you one question. Wait, wait. So you are messing with the samples?
I am. I'm messing with
Oh,
the
okay. No,
samples.
I just wanted to. That's what I'm gonna say. I was gonna say, man, I want to hear what that sounds like. Yes, yes. All right. I'm sorry to
Yeah,
interrupt you. Just want to make sure.
I was just saying like I was messing with the samples, but I don't have a DAW that's like technical for whatever mixing software that you have. I didn't know how to go about it, so I've been watching a lot of YouTube and Twitch streamers that do music production, specifically producers though that mix and master stuff. So Ableton is like a really popular mixing software for music. I think that's the route I want to go to make music because one, I think it's a lot easier. Two, I know how to read and write music, so it'll be easier for me to just plug in and stuff. Three, I've seen like 4 people do it, and yo, it's literally just cut, mix, and splice on the track in front of you, and you just kind of loop, and that's it. I was like, wow, I think I can do that,
Bro,
but I don't want to take too many samples. That's the one thing. I want to make my own samples for my own sounds, but obviously throw back some, you know, some old NWA stuff in there just for funsies because I don't think people will get it. Or not this generation be like, what is that from? What is that? Who
I,
are they?
I have to say the DAW I use is Reason. I've always
Okay.
used I've always used Reason, and that goes back to like to sophomore year of college, and also because I knew Linkin Park used it. I know that sounds so nerdy, but I knew Linkin Park used
So
it, and I
good.
was like, I want what Linkin Park uses. So I've been using Reason since, and the plugin that I just got is that arcade plugin that people talk about, and I would definitely recommend that. And I'm saying it on your podcast,
Ooh.
and it's like I always believe if you have good knowledge, you should pass that shit on. Arcade, I want to
Mm.
check because arcade change. Like my whole thing was like this when I was coming up, and I used to come down to Atlanta to record when I was in college. I remember I met this producer, and at this time I was working on Reason, and he was working on FL Studios, and he was selling beats to Cash Money at the time, and he wouldn't tell them that it was he didn't want to tell them that the stems were coming from FL Studio because apparently back then the majors were paying less for FL Studio. I wondered
Oh,
why. I had met a producer after I this is like in 2000 I guess it's like 13 or something. I met a producer who said
yeah.
FL Studios. But I didn't realize when they call FL Studios is Fruity Loops. So it was just loops. Where when I'm working in Reason, I'm playing everything by finger. Like, and you know, I don't play the keyboard too well, but you know, this is what the
Yeah.
keyboard allows you to hook up to the computer. And you can play guitars. You can play, you know, I'm good at chords. I
Mm.
can read music a little bit. So that's how I used to create my music. With this shit, with arcade, with Reason, it's basically just loops, but it's a different way that you can control them. And I finally, with this EP, the EP, I use that, and it sounds completely different because you're using these loops that have the sound quality that you need to stand out.
Oh,
The
I
the
got you.
bass lines are hitting differently. So now I'm worrying
Mm.
about the other parts of it. I'm worrying about the percussion and the drums on it, or adding a different chord
Yeah.
here and shit like that. You can focus on changing the different. You can just change the chords and the notes and all that stuff. So you still have a lot of freedoms as an artist, but that shit to
Mm.
me up my whole. It changed the game for me. Like, and what
I got
got
you.
me was a commercial. I forget what producer it was, but he's literally sitting there at the screen. And he goes, "If I had this when I was a kid," he said, "I'd be a billionaire." And that's how I feel with this. I feel like, yo, I'm telling
Heard.
you. I mean, I think you can. I think you can use it with Ableton too. So,
Okay, I'll definitely check it out. Yeah, yeah. I haven't messed with it so much just yet. So all the live shit that I have on stream are done with Adobe Premiere, and I'm just cutting it to my ear. Literally, I'm counting the beats or physically watching where the waveforms are, splicing it, adding just sampled vocals on top, and then kind of repurposing what is already made with the beat, essentially sampling. But that's how I'm going about it right now. When I finally get Ableton, I already have all the set packs that I really want on it. All I have to do is plug in my guitar to this microphone that I'm speaking right now because it's like a dual channel, and then we can just go crazy because I can transpose that to saxophone or keyboards or whatever the hell I want, pretty much on screen, as long as I have chord progressions. I mean, I can do that with just with the keys, just typing. But if I can play it myself, I think it'd be easier because
bro,
I think that's how my brain works.
you mix that with a good DAW that you can get comfortable with, and having all those sounds at your disposal, especially with what you bring to the table, bro. Your
Mhm.
production will be crazy. It's going to be crazy. Like
Yeah.
it
So
YouTube's your
that's
friend, bro. YouTube is where I watch when
you
I
too.
need when,
You
when
too.
I need information. I'll go down that YouTube rabbit hole and watch all the tutorials I can.
Oh yeah, me too. I done the whole YouTube thing for the podcasting a couple years ago. I did the whole YouTube thing for this software interface that we're using right now that you're able to hear the sounds and all that. So everything is like pretty much self-taught, which is such a good time to be alive right now, especially for whatever we're labeled as, because we can learn everything via internet. Because back then, you had to read the books, which is unfortunate for them, but a little better for us, in my opinion, because everything
It's
is
so
on internet.
true.
Learn everything on internet.
That is so true. That is so true, man.
But yeah, hey man, look, like I said, it's such a pleasure talking to you. Like I've been meaning to get you in the podcast. It's just been a while. I'm kind of making my way around back to all my musician buddies and kind of wanting to get on the pod because I want to know how they're doing, what they're doing, and just kind of how they're going about the stuff. However, I do want you to hear the sample. I don't know if you listen to any of the beginning like podcasts. However, let me see if I can play it for you right now. Give me a sec. So check. This is the PSA announcement from Jay Z. Just kind of mix and slice real quick and remastered ever so slightly, not to take away from any of their producers, but just a little bit. And that's pretty much all you get until it kind of goes ballistic. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Give me a second. I'll try to. It's not a remix, I promise. It's just the software crashing. It's just the software crashing. But of a DJ scratching in the middle, I just lifted the mids ever so slightly because I like that a little better. Because most of the stuff that was made in 2000s, they were like a little too bass heavy for me. I didn't like that particularly, so I decreased that ever so slightly, just a little bit, and boosted the mids because I wanted to hear the chord, the chords that they were playing. So yeah, stuff like
Yeah,
that.
I
Just
heard
a
it when
quick.
you. I heard it when you had first played it the first time around, and it sound dope. Then no, that just sound dope. Um,
Yeah.
What you say? But just what you say about the bass, though, is what I'm telling you. Atlanta is something about the way the bass hits here, bro. Their bass
Mhm.
lines, it hits in a way that like Jimmy Iovine talks about the way Dr. Dre's bass lines used to hit. It's nuts. I just wanted to say
Yeah.
that because you said the bass line.
Oh, baseline. A lot of people live and die by the baseline. I live and die by the mid tones because my ears will catch it better because I play guitar. So everything is pretty much mid heavy, and I focus that on more on the bass. I can hear it obviously, but I want to make sure that it's more full than anything than a heavier low end in my ear for suit. So it just depends
I
per
love
musician. Yeah.
that perspective though, because that's your perspective coming from being a guitarist. That's pretty cool. I like that shit.
Mhm. It's to each their own. It's not one thing is wrong or the other. It's just preference. That's literally all.
Exactly.
Some people would like piano. They would be like, "Oh, but I like high end better," and I'm just like, "Well,
Mhm.
that's you." Then we just track the piano player. But yeah, that's different story altogether. Jerome, thanks so much. Thank you for stopping by on the podcast. Thank you for giving me a little time out of your day. Nothing too crazy, and I won't spoil anything. I'll make sure that whenever you want to release this, I'll release it. But if you want, just give yourself a shout out. Any of your links that you want to disclose right now, or any future things that you want to go ahead, and I'll give you the floor for a quick minute.
Please check out the new single from Jay Shuler presents Molly and the Pineapples, The People Under the Stairs, featuring Paige Frelix in a crazy choreographed dance, a really cool video, uh, and yeah, and look out for the
Cool.
short film coming.
There you go. Nothing too crazy. Obviously, I'll make sure that I'll have the links when Jerome is ready to share those with me and make sure everything is underneath so you can find all his stuff. Do you want to link your socials so they can find you, or is that not live yet?
Yeah, you can follow me on Instagram at Molly and the Pineapples, as well as Twitter at Molly and the Pineapples, and on YouTube at Molly and the Pineapples.
There you go. Everything Molly and pineapples, pretty much, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, that brand consistency, as they call it in our business. But not too crazy from all of us here in the East Coast. When I say the East Coast, Jerome also, because he's born and raised on the side. But anything else, peace out, ladies and gentlemen.